campus. I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Today, we have our pathway partner from Victoria, BC, University of Victoria Continuing Studies joining us today. And we have Marlo representing UVIC Continuing Studies. Hi, Marlo, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm coming to you live from Victoria in my house where I'm working from home. So, yeah.
Great. We may also have Kathy joining us as well. She's just, I think, still figuring it out, but she may join us later on. So today we're going to talk about UVIC Continuing Studies programs, admission requirements, and how you can easily transition from our pathway program, SSLC's pathway program, which is EPE, English for Post-Secondary Education, to UVIC Continuing Studies programs. So Kathy and Marlo, or just Marlo, we don't know yet, will give us detailed information about their programs. They have great programs, and I'm sure you'll find this webinar very useful. So Marlo, why don't we start with you first? Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience, and then we can go with your presentation and then get to know more about your programs.
Definitely. So thank you for having me. First, Ilyas and our colleagues at Sprott Shaw SSLC. We've had a lovely partnership over the years and had many successful students follow the pathway from SSLC into the UVIC Certificate and Diploma in Business Administration programs. It's been a fantastic partnership. So just to introduce myself a little bit before I jump into the presentation. So I'm a program coordinator at the University of Victoria in the Division of Continuing Studies, which is where the UVIC Certificate and Diplomas in Business Administration are housed. That's our department. And I've worked at the university for 16 years, and I actually am a graduate of our Certificate in Business Administration program as well. So I definitely am very sincerely devoted to these programs, and I'm happy to share information with students from all over the world and here in Victoria as well. So if I think what we'll do is I'll jump into the presentation, but for everyone listening, I'm happy to answer questions as we progress. So if you want to raise questions to Ilyas, I think he'll manage the questions as they come up. And then at the end of my presentation, it will just be a brief overview presentation. I will also, and my colleague Kathy hopefully will join us for the question and answer at the end. And we'll address more specific questions after everything is presented.
Exactly. So if you guys have any questions, you can just click on Ask a Question tab. You can ask your questions there. Or you can just simply type your questions on the chat box on the right-hand side of your screens. Or we can invite you live on stage, and you can ask your questions live to Marlo or myself. And Marlo, if questions arise during your presentation, I may interrupt from time to time.
Absolutely.
And but in the end, we'll definitely do a Q&A session.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So if it's all right, I'm going to go ahead with my presentation.
Sure. Yeah.
And then we'll give everyone a little bit of information and then hopefully address all of their questions.
Great.
Does that look okay for everyone?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So as I mentioned, I'm a program coordinator for the Business Certificate and Diploma programs. My area is called Business and Management. That's a part of the Division of Continuing Studies at the University of Victoria. So just to give a little summary of what we'll talk about today, I'll give a little bit of an introduction to the city of Victoria very briefly. I know Sprott Shaw SSLC has a campus here in Victoria, and they have a ton of information on their website as well about all of the amenities and the features of our beautiful city. So I won't spend a ton of time doing that. I'll focus more on an overview of our full-time certificate and diploma programs, both our regular full-time and our intensive full-time programs. And in the middle there, I'll also also touch on what we're doing for online study during this current time when most of our courses, for example, for the September term, have moved online. So I assumed that I've added that part in because I thought many students might have questions about what's different right now in terms of our regular programming and how that affects the overall plans for certificate and diploma programs. And then, of course, at the end of the session, hopefully we'll spend the most time answering questions that students might have about either SSLC programs, the pathway, or the certificate and diploma in business administration at UVIC.
Great.
So I'm sure you know this, but Victoria is on the very west coast of Canada. We're the capital of British Columbia, a little island very near Vancouver. So we are, of course, our location, because we're an island, is very famous for the natural beauty that we get to enjoy every day, beautiful beaches, beautiful coastline. And we also very much enjoy bragging about how we have the mildest weather in Canada. So there's very little snow in Victoria, similar to Vancouver, but probably even less snow and rain. And we also have, in regular time, we have a very vibrant social city, tons of restaurants, tons of things to do, but small enough that it's very easy to navigate, very easy for students to, get to campus, to their accommodation on public transit or other forms of transit. And there's not a huge amount of commuting that happens for our students. So it's a lovely benefit to living in a world-class multicultural city that is also very small. It's easy to get around. So these are just some scenery pictures to ease you into the presentation here.
So Marlo, before you continue, sorry to interrupt. Kathy is here right now.
Oh,
with us, and,
I just invite her. Please accept my invitation, Kathy.
yes, Kathy, if you can accept the invitation so that you can be on stage with us.
Fine.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
There she is.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you.
Hi, Kathy. Welcome.
Sorry, people. I'm here.
It's okay. Marlo just started with the presentation. Maybe when she finishes, we can introduce you as well.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks for joining, Kathy. So, and Kathy can help with the primary part of the presentation, which will be the questions at the end, which we're all very excited about. So, Kathy, I had just given a little bit of an introduction to who we are and where Victoria is. Although I know SSLC has a campus in Victoria, so they have lots of information that they've likely shared with the people in the webinar as well about the city. So we'll focus more on our programs, of course. So this is an aerial shot of the University of Victoria, where we are located. Right now I'm at my house, but normally I'm located there on a work day. And you can see our campus is very near the coast. So there's actually a beach, 10 minutes walking right from campus. We are a world-class research university, often ranked by Maclean's magazine in the top 2 comprehensive universities in Canada. We have 10 academic faculties, business, science, engineering, social science, humanities, fine arts, over 21,000 students in all of these faculties and divisions. And as I mentioned, the University of Victoria campus is not located downtown, but because we are a very small city, it's actually a very short bus ride to center of downtown Victoria. Because it's a world-class campus, we have all of the amenities that you might expect, including athletics facilities, lots of food services, a cafe, a movie theater, all of those lovely things that our students take advantage of when the campus is fully open. For fall of this year, the campus will be open partially, so students will be on campus, but our courses for fall, September this year, will be online. So it will be a little bit of a different environment, but students will be able to, who are physically located in Victoria, will be able to take advantage of some of the amenities of our campus. So our department, just to clarify where we are located, one of the faculties and divisions of the University of Victoria is the Division of Continuing Studies. So this is the department that is focused on certificates, diplomas, professional development, some postgraduate study, and different types of career-focused programming that students who graduate from other faculties may take regular community members and international students may participate in. And our part of the Division of Continuing Studies, as I said, is business and management programs. So for Kathy and I, that's our building. That is where our offices are located. Normally you can see my window there, and normally that's where I would be speaking to you from. But of course, things are different right at the moment. But we are so pleased to welcome over 800 students each year to our professionally focused certificate and diploma in business administration programs. So just as an overview, we do offer our programming online, part-time, and on campus in a regular term. The programs that are of most interest to our international student body is the full-time programs. So these are the certificate and diploma in business administration. In a general sense, you can envision the certificate as a one-year program and the diploma as a two-year program. These are full-time programs, which means students must take 3 courses per term in the fall and winter terms. So those are the terms that begin in September and January each year. And each course runs our full semester of 13 weeks. So right now, what that means for students in the summer right now, and then in the fall coming up, they are taking 3 online courses that are 13 weeks long. And for students, when they're regularly studying full face-to-face courses, that means they are taking 3 3-hour courses per week, typically in the evening, or a mix of face-to-face and online courses. So you can see that the tuition for the total tuition estimate for our certificate in business administration is $5,860 for the one-year program. Now, of course, that doesn't include textbooks and student fees. Sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had a question, Ilya.
Sorry.
And then for our diploma in business administration, the tuition can be estimated at approximately $10,030 for the entire program, the 2-year program, not including student fees paid per term and textbook costs. But it's a very competitive tuition cost for this very applied, focused professional programs.
Very affordable.
Yes, and you can see that typically the language requirement is demonstrated by IELTS, TOEFL, or the SSLC pathway is successful completion of the English for Post-Secondary Education, the EPE program. So this is the successful pathway we talked about at the introduction as well. So these are our regular full-time programs.
And you currently also accept Duolingo? Just for these 2 semesters?
We are temporarily accepting Duolingo kind of on an individual basis for students. So it's not part of our regular admission process, but because of the circumstances many students are facing, it's difficult to take other types of language tests. We are considering students who meet other admission requirements. So as long as students have, as noted on this slide here, the 2 years full-time work experience, if they have a Duolingo result of 110 or higher, we will consider them for direct admission or look at their package application on an individual basis.
Great.
Yes. So typically, though, IELTS, TOEFL, or the standard test, or the pathway through SSLC is always automatically accepted if students meet other admission requirements.
Thank you for answering that question. Thanks.
Sure. So some of the highlights of our regular full-time certificate and diploma in business administration programs is they meet the requirements to qualify students to apply for the post-graduation work permit program in Canada. So this is a very popular program that students often are drawn to these long 1-year or 2-year length certificate and diploma programs with the end goal of working part-time while they study and then applying to obtain the PGWP in Canada. It's an excellent opportunity for students who want to gain both post-secondary education and work experience in Canada. Some of the other benefits, of course, of our program is that our programs are very flexible. Students are allowed to choose electives in both the certificate and diploma program from specific topics of interest each term. So whether a student is more interested in, marketing pathways or finance or other specialized topics we offer each semester, students are allowed to choose within the requirements for graduation for the program. So there's a lot of flexibility and choice. And there's also a lot of flexibility in our format. So typically when we're running a majority of face-to-face courses, most of our courses are in the evening. We also have some one-week intensive courses or online courses that can be selected from each term. So I've emphasized online there because online has always been an option for international students in our full-time certificate and diploma programs. So students always had the option to take some online courses as part of their full-time certificate or diploma in our program. And we've been running online courses for many years. So as you can imagine, the transition currently to online study over the course of this summer and upcoming for fall, for our program, we were in a unique position that it was a smoother transition because we already offered online as part of our programs. So it just, this fall, it's taking over to be the entirety of our program to meet the provincial requirements for distancing in education. So I wanted to take the opportunity, this is one of our face-to-face courses. I wanted to take the opportunity to answer questions either now or at the end, or and outline what is unique about our online course offerings and how that is integrated into our regular programming. So as I mentioned, we've been offering distance education, which looked a little different 25 years ago, but we've been offering a form of distance or online courses for 25 years as part of our programs. So we're very, very comfortable in this arena, and it's something that we do very well. So our courses are developed specifically for online, and we understand how students engage with online courses differently. So our students already have had the benefit of having this option. And so what we're finding with students continuing or beginning their programs right now in fall is that they're able to get the same kind of engaged connection and that same rich, rigorous learning environment as they were having in the face-to-face courses in our online course offerings. And the benefit for students who do have in mind that they would like to apply for the PGWP down the road, or they want to apply for a study permit and then come to Canada as soon as that is available as an option to study face-to-face. Our program was already set up for students to move between face-to-face and online courses as part of their program without any kind of process or difficulty. So our students were already in their diploma program, for example, they were already allowed to take face-to-face and online courses and move back and forth however worked best for their program plan. So it's something that is a strength for us right now, that we're so experienced in the online course arena, and that our program was already set up for students to move from face-to-face online very easily. So just a little bit of an overview is that our online courses require 8 to 12 hours per week of study time. And most of our courses are not live. So they're called asynchronous, which means that students don't need to be online at a particular day or time. They work through a pace where there's due dates and certain things that are required each week, and they do need to interact with their fellow students and the instructor, and they get the opportunity to develop those friendships. But they're not required to be online on a certain day of the week in most of our courses. There are certain select topics that have a combination of asynchronous and synchronous. So that means that students have the option of studying at their own time, but then there also is a session that is live either through Zoom or another media for 3 hours per week. So when students are selecting courses, they of course know which ones are the select ones that have this combination hybrid of live study and asynchronous study. So students have the option to choose what they prefer, if they want to explore this option, or if they would prefer to stick to the asynchronous, which is easier if students are studying from their home countries. This is just everyone being excited about all the online options. So another category of certificate and diploma program options or pathways that we offer are what we call our fast track or intensive programs. So the certificate in business administration, while normally if it's a regular full-time course load of evening or online courses takes a year, students can take this program face-to-face in just 3 months. So as you can imagine, that requires full days of study, full daytime studies from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. Mm-hmm. Instead of a course being a full semester, it's typically 5 to 7 business days, all condensed together. So this is a very intensive way for Canadian and international students to get a comprehensive foundation of business knowledge in a very short amount of time. Mm-hmm. So often this is a great opportunity for students who they know that they need to apply for a job or go home for a job in their home country in a short amount of time, but they really want the advantage of a prestigious Canadian business credential to add on to their prior education or their prior experience. And so this provides them that opportunity. And we have the pathway from SSLC through the completion of the EPE program for that intensive program as well to meet the language requirement. And then we also offer the diploma in what we call a fast track model, which is the intensive model, which basically gives students the opportunity to complete a diploma, the requirements for the diploma, by doing the certificate fast track in that first term of intensive study, and then 2 regular additional full-time terms of 3 more courses for a total of approximately 12 to 16 months of full-time study, completing the entire diploma. So it does allow students to complete the higher level credential in an intensive pace, but it's not quite as fast as the certificate program. And it does give them the option to choose more elective courses as well within that program.
So Marlo,
yeah.
Do they necessarily have to start with fast track? I mean, if they started with regular DBA and instead of taking 3 courses per term, they can choose to take maybe 5.
Yep.
Right? So
yes.
That in that case, they can still finish it before 2 years.
They definitely could, and
okay.
that's an excellent point. So it's less commonly taken that path, but typically students can take 4 or 5 courses per term to finish at an accelerated pace. And many students do that because they apply for the regular 2-year program and then their circumstances change, or they have a job opportunity or something like that, and so they decide to finish more quickly. But so this option is more popular for students who really want to finish as quickly as possible. But
so
yes,
you mentioned there for the DBA fast track, they have to take 8 courses in their first term.
Yes.
Isn't that quite a lot?
So basically what they're doing in the first semester, the first term, they're joining the CBA fast track group. So that first term has a different schedule. It's Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And the courses are taught one at a time. So each topic is approximately 5 to 7 business days. So they really intensively focus on one topic. They work through the evaluation requirements, they write a test or submit their final assignment, and then they move on to the next topic. So it makes it possible to complete such a large amount of courses, the 8 courses in one term. But it's just that first term in the DBA fast track. After that, they would take the remaining 6 courses to meet the 14-course graduation requirement for the diploma by either taking 3 or more courses per term.
All right. Kathy is answering some of the questions on the chat box, but I'd like to, we can ask them later on too. But Grisel had a question there. Fast track is open for international students. And I assume all the programs that you're talking today, they're all open to international students.
Yes. Definitely. All of our programs, our full-time and part-time programs, are open to international and Canadian students. In fact, it's something that it's really important to us to have both local Canadian students and international students in our courses. So that's why many of even our full-time programs, often when they are face-to-face, they often include evening classes. And this is to accommodate part-time Canadian students who want to join the classes and move through the program at a slower pace than maybe a full-time full-time student, but then we still have the benefit of mixing different, a really diverse group of students with different ages, different backgrounds, different levels of professional experience, or different areas of specialization in their education. So these different perspectives are sort of what makes continuing studies very unique, in that everyone is very focused on, you know, professional advancement and gaining applied business skills, but they come from all different backgrounds, all different specializations and education levels.
Kathy, I'd like to ask the questions here because we're also live on Facebook and on our website. So when we answer them, when we answer people on the chat box, they won't be able to see it on Facebook. So that's why I wanted to just ask it out loud to Manlo.
Sure, of course.
Excellent.
And of course, it's open to international students, and this is another advantage of UVIC Continuing Studies, because international students have the advantage of studying with local Canadian students, right?
Exactly. Yes.
And do you know, you said you welcome about 800 students per year. Do you have the percentage of international students? Or the number of
right now in our full-time programs, right now we have a huge amount of international students. It's somewhere around 70%.
Wow.
Especially in our full-time programs, we do have more Canadians locals taking individual courses, so working through a certificate or a diploma at a part-time pace. So they are also classmates of the full-time program students in the full-time classes, but they're not in the same set program.
I see. Thank you.
And the fast track example, just as we're on the slide here too, the certificate that's done in just 3 months or 12 weeks, often students who've recently graduated from the University of Victoria in a non-business degree. So if they've studied sciences or social sciences or arts, and then they've reached the end of their undergraduate degree or graduate level degree even, and they are seeking professional opportunities, they often find the certificate would be an advantage in enhancing their resume and being more competitive in the job market after graduation. So we do have lots of Canadian international students who come to us after they've graduated from UVic.
Great.
Okay. And then, of course, the diploma, to meet the requirements of the diploma, it requires 6 additional courses. And this, the fast track itself, because it is shorter and more intense, most students would not apply for the PGWP after that program, but students who complete the diploma fast track can qualify to apply for the postgrad work permit in Canada as well.
So fast track CVA graduates, you said they cannot apply? Because they finish
no, because it's so intensive and it's done in just 12 weeks.
Oh, okay, 12 weeks.
Yeah, so it's
8 months in length, right? Yeah.
Yes. And so, and then the other thing to note is that the intensive programs, the fast track programs, CBA or DBA, certificate or diploma, they require 2 years university or 5 years work experience. So it's a little bit higher admission requirements than our regular certificate and diploma full-time programs. And this is because of the intensity of the first semester, in that students have to cope with, you know, a very busy academic schedule in that first semester. Okay,
thank you.
So some of the highlights for all of our programs, but particularly in the intensive programs, are the case study method that's used to teach in our courses. So this is where students are approaching real life business scenarios and asked to use what they're learning, use the principles and the theory and the examples they're learning and apply those to real life scenarios and make decisions. So this is something that they practice throughout their certificate and diploma program, so that when they emerge and graduate from the program, they're able to use those skills in their professional life. So they have experience making those kinds of decisions and gathering information to make those kinds of decisions. In the intensive program and our regular program, of course, we have academically qualified instructors who teach at the university, but they also have real life work experience that they share with the students. So it's a very rich kind of collaborative learning environment in which the instructor really encourages our students with all their different types of experience to share their questions or their examples from their own work experience in the classroom. And then, of course, that is what the highlight. For me, I think the biggest strength of our program is those experienced, mature, diverse students that come to our classes and really have practical professional goals, and they're really wanting to share and build on their past experience and connect with other students, which really supports higher learning.
And you also have so many course offerings at UVIC Continuing Studies as well, and that's the another advantage for international students. You have some required courses for your programs, but they also have so many elective courses to choose from. So they focus on different aspects of business. It's on your website. I mean, we can look it up as well. But there are so many great course offerings there too.
Yeah, we have some really, really interesting course topics. So we have, of course, the core topics that if students are in a fast track or intensive program, that first term is a set curriculum, as that slide indicated. So it includes, as you might expect, the foundational courses of, communication and financial principles and marketing and international business and all of these other courses. But students who continue in the diploma or students who take our regular full-time course offerings, they have the opportunity to select from these core courses. Of course, everyone's prepared to take marketing and accounting and organizational behavior. These are really foundational business topics. But we also have electives in really exciting topics like change management and social marketing and e-commerce and managing in the digital economy and all of these really interesting kind of innovative topics that really students are very interested in, and it allows them to kind of either specialize based on their interest or explore something new and see if it might be an opportunity to kind of grow in their career.
All right.
So that kind of brings us to the end of at least the PowerPoint professional or slide presentation piece. But I definitely would really love to ask if people have questions, if that might be all right. Yeah.
Sure. I'll have some questions, and then if we have more questions, we'll be able to answer them. And if we have questions on Facebook, Jem will also forward those to us as well. So thank you for the great presentation. First of all, we talked about UVIC Continuing Studies programs, and I can definitely say that it's one of the most affordable programs, which is PGWP eligible, and that's why it's very popular among our students, and we have many applicants. And you switched to online application as well. I tried that today. I actually submitted an application today. So it was very easy and very convenient. So thank you for setting that up for us as well. So it's been a great partnership, as you mentioned in the beginning as well. So we appreciate your support.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I have a student asking about coming from Somalia. Marlo, have we had a Somalian student yet? I think we've had over 75 countries represented.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But Somalia,
I could check. I'm not sure we have. Yeah.
I mean, to answer Mohammed's question, Canada welcomes students from all around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're eligible to apply for a study permit, if you satisfy the Canadian student visa or study permit requirements, then why not? You may as well just apply and find out. But Canada welcomes, and SSLC and UVIC Continuing Studies welcome students from all around the world. So why not?
Maybe Mohammed will be our first Somalian if we haven't already had someone.
Yeah, there you go. I just want to touch base on some of the admission requirements and the admission procedures.
Sure.
So let's say students join our Pathway program, our EP program, either in our Victoria campus or in our Vancouver, Toronto campus, or we also run our Pathway program online right now. So as soon as they're admitted into our program, we are now ready to apply to UVIC Continuing Studies DBA program or CBA program. What do they need to submit? I mean, now it's obviously online, but they need to send me their application through email. But
Yeah.
what do you need? What do you need to see? Like, do you need a passport copy? Do you need their resumes, letter of intent? Can we talk about this a little bit?
For our program, because of our professional focus, the most important documents is usually a resume and then a recent transcript if they have the most recent 2 years of education, especially if they're applying for an intensive program where the 2 years post-secondary is typically required. But for us, it's usually resumes, the most important. And then if they're applying for conditional acceptance based on, they'll be completing the EPE program at SSLC, typically they often submit their letter from SSLC so they can show us, like, here's my schedule, I'll be studying from this date to this date, and then we can issue a conditional letter of acceptance to UVIC. So as long as they complete the EPE successfully, then they will enter on this certain date. Yes.
Sure. So once they have
passports, though.
So when they have the SSLC LOA, they send us their transcripts from their home countries or in Canada. They send their diplomas if they have one, either high school or university, right?
Whatever's most recent. Yes.
Okay, and they submit their resumes.
Yep.
Letter of intent.
Yeah, usually we ask for a statement. It's very brief, though. It's like, why would you like to take this program, or why have you selected it, basically?
Okay. And once these are submitted, we do an online application. And then what happens?
Then first, they'll receive a confirmation, or if they've applied with the help of SSLC will receive the confirmation to forward. The application fee, they'll get a confirmation that the application fee has been processed and that their application is now being reviewed.
And how much is the application fee?
The application fee is $300.
Okay.
And there's also a program deposit that's required at the time of application of $300. The deposit is applied towards tuition costs, though. So that is deducted from the total tuition amount. The application fee is separate. Yeah.
And that's non-refundable. So when you process the application and send the payment link, they have to pay $600.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
And the second half, like the second $300, in case of a visa refusal or something, it's totally refundable, right?
That's right. Yes.
Okay. All right. And once they make the payment, then you issue either the conditional letter of acceptance or letter of acceptance. And then when do students make the tuition payment, or when do they choose their courses?
Sure. Kathy, do you want to?
Oh, I'm typing answers to the chat.
Okay, that's fine. So the courses don't open for registration. So students often apply quite far in advance. So maybe a year ahead of time or 6 months. The specific courses open for registration a few months before the term. So for example, for September, the courses opened in June for students to choose their topics. And so at that time, to pick your courses, you do have to pay the tuition to register. So you pay at the time of registration when you select your course topics. But students are not required to register until closer to the course start date. However, some courses are really popular. So typically we always recommend students register as early as they can so that they get their preferred topics because there often courses will fill up, especially ones that are requirements.
Kathy, why don't we answer these since you're
Oh.
here, because we're also live on Facebook, right? And
Sure.
it's easier for you to just explain it instead of typing it there.
Sure,
But
okay.
before we go on to Mauri's question about the career opportunities, I just have a follow-up question on the application process. There's a question from Grisel. She's asking how long is the entire application process? So how long it usually takes? I mean, sometimes it depends on the term, but
it depends
on average.
Typically right now it's probably 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay.
The application processing time. It is a little bit faster now that the online process has been smoothed out. So students who apply through SSLC and then you can forward it through the online application, it's faster.
Yeah, and then it's right away the link is sent.
Yes.
I think.
So I mean, through your contact, you can send a link to students to fill in their information, and then that will be processed through the SSLC profile so that we know who to send the information to.
Sure. Great. So let's go to Mauri's question. So Kathy, can you answer that here? Can you tell me the graduates' career opportunities after the completion of the DBA, especially international students?
Okay, so there's such a wide variety of jobs that our students go to in so many different industries. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint anything in particular. But I would say a lot of students go into management roles in different companies, and often we have students that maybe have their degree in a specific field, and then they come to you for the English pathway. And then they maybe will take our program and go on to start their own business in their home country, or maybe join in their family business with a new perspective and all that administrative knowledge that they've gained and their cultural experience being here, they take back to their home country maybe and infuse that into their family business, or they open their business here. So a lot of our students do want to stay in Canada, and I certainly understand why, because this is paradise, I have to say. I don't blame you at all. I do the same thing. So many different industries. So from a personal perspective, I could tell you that I went from a very lower level administrative position. I took the diploma, and now I'm a program coordinator like Marlo. So it's a great, besides the foundational tools just to work in any industry, it definitely will help both Canadian and international students, of course, with getting to the next level or getting a good start in the business world and in their career, no matter what field they're in.
So I have a follow-up question about this. So when I talk about this program with my students or prospective students, they're sometimes worried about this program being an undergraduate diploma program, and most of them, they usually have their degrees from their countries. So in this situation, how would you advise students? What would you say to these students? Because they're sometimes looking to enroll in postgraduate certificate or diploma programs, but obviously they have to pay more, right? If they're planning to enroll in a postgraduate degree program in a Canadian public college, it's about $32,000 to $35,000 for 2 years. But of course, your program is very affordable, and in the end, they still qualify to apply for PGWP. So how would you advise these students?
So are you okay if I answer, Marlo?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. So I would say if a student has come to us and they have already got their degree and they're not looking to go on to a master program, this is an excellent segue to the work world, because they have that expertise in their undergrad degree. Now they're getting a Canadian diploma or certificate from a world-renowned university. Right. And there's been a shift in how employers think too. If a potential employee has a resume that has shown a program of study, whether it be an undergrad degree, a master's program, or a diploma or an associate's degree, it shows that student or that potential employee has undertaken a program, completed it, and has, had success in that area. And that is, the employers are looking more seriously at the shorter term of study plans now than they used to. So a diploma carries more weight now and is more versatile for some people, coupled with their undergrad degree. So if they do specifically want a master's program, then we can send them across this beautiful street to our Faculty of Business. But if they're looking to supplement and augment what they already have in their educational experience to be something that is actually valuable in the workforce and will help them get a job, foundational business experience can be used for everything. So couple that with their educational experience, and they've got a great package going forward.
Exactly, and this is what I tell them, like, especially if they have a degree in another field, this is a great opportunity, to improve their skills in business management, and they'll be earning a diploma in business management. So it's a different area for them. How about this? Let's say students took your DBA program and they want to study further. Do you have pathways with other institutions in Victoria, or within UVIC? Maybe they're able to transfer to, let's say, UVIC's BBA program, or perhaps they can apply for master's program or any other institution in BC or elsewhere in Canada?
We do. I mean, so at UVIC, the certificate and diploma are parallel, so separate from the Bachelor of Commerce and the MBA program that we offer. So what that means is they're separate streams, and you can't transfer from the certificate and the diploma into the BCom or master's. Because of the nature of the programs, they are cohort based. So that means a set group moves through the program together. So they don't readily transfer in partial credits or part study to students. So it doesn't work that way in UVIC. However, we do have many students who will take our regular certificate or diploma as preparation for further study in business, like an MBA. And we do have an agreement with the Masters of Global Business program at UVIC. So for students, that program requires an undergraduate degree in business typically. So students who don't have an undergraduate degree in business, but they want to apply to the Masters of Global Business program at UVIC, they are required to take our intensive certificate, the CBA Fast Track. So that's how they gain that foundational knowledge in business to enter and supplement their undergrad education to enter the MGB, the Masters of Global Business program. So we do have that pathway, as well as we do have partnership with Royal Roads University. So that is a local Victoria university that is, it's designed around.
So our pathway partner.
Yes, there you go. Their programming is designed and it fits better with a continuing studies certificate and diploma, because our students typically are mature students with professional focus. So the Royal Roads programs are similar. So our programs, depending on the years of work experience someone has, our program plus some of their work experience will qualify them to apply to either a BBA, a BCom, or an MBA directly, depending on their years of work experience at Royal Roads University.
So in this case, would you not suggest a high school graduate to start with your diploma program and then maybe move on to do their BBAs at RRU?
Typically, our students need to have work experience before they're admitted. So right out of high school is not our typical student. Usually they have to have 2 years of full-time work experience. So most of our students are not just finished high school. But we do have students who have just a few years work experience who do our diploma, and then they apply to RRU's BBA program. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. There's a question here, and I get this question a lot from our marketers and advisors. Let's say students completed our EP program and they have their certificate in their hands. How long is this valid for? Let's say they've completed now and they want to start, let's say, next year or in 2 years. Do you have an expire date on our pathway program like there is in IELTS and TOEFL?
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever solidified that. So
We
I
haven't
would
had that
say,
experience yet, so.
yeah, I would say within a year for sure would
Within
be
a year.
fine. But if the student is looking, if they've completed outside of the year, I would encourage them to contact us directly, and then maybe we could speak to them about what have they been doing, have they still been in Canada, that sort of thing, because that would make a difference for whether
Maybe
it's evaluated.
So it's more case by case then.
Yeah, I would say I don't think we've really had very much of that scenario, because typically the pathway is very straight.
Right.
Students do SSLC and then directly to our program.
Exactly.
But we would consider students on an individual basis.
The question was from Grisel. She was asking if I take the SSLC pathway now and start DBA in September 2021, is my pathway still valid? In this case, it's still within a year.
Yeah.
We would say it's fine.
Yeah, I think it would be fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There are questions here. Sophia has a question. I think she joined us later in the webinar, and she's asking, how is your online classroom typically? How many weeks do online classes run? I know you talked about this, but do you want to maybe recap quickly?
Sure. Our online classroom, similar to our face-to-face classes, which are also a smaller size than a typical undergrad or something like that. We always have 40 students or less approximately in the online courses. The courses are 13 weeks. And they're most often, the majority of our courses are asynchronous, which means they are not live. So you have to follow the pace of the course. You're expected to regularly engage with your fellow students and the instructor, and your activities and assignments are due on certain dates throughout the program term. But you don't have to be live at any, like on Monday at 7 or anything like that. That's the majority of our courses. Though we do have certain select topics that are called a hybrid, asynchronous, synchronous. So what that means is that there's still a course website that is not live, that students use as the primary resource center for their course and how they communicate with their fellow students and the instructor. And that's how they submit their assignments and things like that. But there are some live parts. So there may be the instructor will post something live, or will communicate and have office hours live via Zoom or something like that with students. So there's certain topics that have that option as well.
Okay. There are more questions here, but I just want to ask another question. I was talking to a prospective student. She's really interested and she wants to apply to your DBA program, and she was asking if she can stay at UVIC's student housing residences. Or what kind of? I knew the answer, but I just wanted to double check.
So I could make it sound nicer, but the answer is typically no. And the housing, the on-campus housing is extremely limited here. And the priority goes to the undergrad students, the starting undergrad students. So our students typically are not able to even be on a wait list. The odd time we have had some students be able to stay for the summer term only. So generally on campus or dorm housing is not available for our students. We do have, not right at the moment, but in the face-to-face world, we have our Homestay program, which is a great alternative for students. The beauty about the Homestay program, when it will be back up and running, is that students can get here and have a family to stay with, and it can be a short-term thing until they find their way around the city and explore and find what area they'd like to live in. And then they can transition to their own housing, either with fellow students they've met in class, or, you know, finding their own little apartment or basement suite. It's a very friendly, social city to live in. It's easy to get around, and I feel it's very safe. So very often we'll have students that will meet in class, and then they'll end up getting, you know, a few of them getting a place together. There's also a great listing on the UVIC website, on the housing website, of off-campus housing, and landlords around the area will advertise their places there for rent. So there's a lot of, there's usually quite a few places within either a bus zone or walking distance or a bike ride that, you know, apartments, suites, houses to share, rooms to rent, and they're advertised on there. So I've had very good experiences with finding my own places through that site and also helping students get places. So off campus, no, but there is alternatives close by. And the Homestay Program is a good one of those alternatives.
And that's another advantage of living and studying and working in Victoria, because it's a smaller city, and it's usually more affordable than other bigger cities in Canada. So you can easily find a room or a place on your own, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, whatever that is, and it'll be I believe much more affordable than, let's say, Vancouver or Toronto.
Yeah.
And most of our students, they start with us, and we usually help them with their homestays in Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
So once they proceed to UVIC continuing studies, they usually already have their own places, or they already have a homestay.
Right.
But this would be more for direct registration, direct applications.
Mm-hmm. You want me to answer the question about the prepayment fees?
Yeah, I was about to ask that one. We discussed that, but maybe just we can repeat it quickly one more time.
Yeah, to recap, basically the fees required at time of application would be application/program deposit fee. So it's $600. $300 of that is a non-refundable application fee, which is non-refundable in all circumstances. So that money will not be returned. But the other part, the other $300 of the $600 that we request at application time, goes towards the program deposit, it's called. So that will go towards your first term's tuition. Now, tuition fees. If a student, that is refundable in 2 cases. If we do not accept a student, they will get that program deposit portion back, but not the application portion. Or if there's a visa refusal, the program deposit, again, that portion can be refunded, but not the application fee. So $300 of the $600 will never go back to the students, but the other 3, there's those 2 cases where it could.
Which is a normal procedure, you know. All schools, universities, and colleges, they have a non-refundable application fee, and that is normal. What scholarships, bursaries available at UVIC? I mean, your tuition fees are already very affordable, but there was a question from Sophia. I'm not sure if you have any scholarship opportunities for international students.
Our department has its own bursary program that students can apply for. They have to demonstrate financial need, but it is limited. So typically, financial aid is not something that international students are relying on. In our programs, particularly because the tuition cost is very comparably low. So it's not as common. But there is a bursary program on the UVIC Continuing Studies website that students can apply for. Yeah.
Great. Crystal has another question here. She's very interested in DBA. She wants to come to Canada with her family. And if she registers to DBA, she's asking if her husband will be able to obtain a work permit, and her son will be able to get funding for his elementary school, perhaps. Do you have such cases? Do you have families joining your program? We get a lot of students to Canada. One of them, like either the husband or the wife, they study, and the other one gets an open work permit, and the kids study for free. Is this an option with UVIC Continuing Studies? Do you have any cases like that?
Yes.
Okay.
We have tons of students that come to Victoria with their families. Our programs are often targeted to mature students, is often the case. But I'm Kathy, sorry, were you going to jump in there? Did you want to?
Go ahead. It's fine.
So typically when a student applies for a study permit, if they're successful, they can bring dependents. So often their spouse, if they're successful, it depends on the parameters of their study permit. But if they're successful, often their spouse can work. But the school district free education in Victoria, we have multiple school districts. So our primary school district does not offer free education for the certificate and diploma programs currently, but there are other districts locally that do.
Oh, really?
So if students in this particular case, like Grisel, if they're considering seriously applying, they could contact us and we could provide more details.
Sure.
But it's a very common scenario, but the school district funding is not always available for young students. Yeah. Like the children of students. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Thank you for answering that as well. I think we covered pretty much everything. I can't see any more questions unless we have more on Facebook, or if they have more questions here. Okay, yes, we have. We have a question from Bruna from Brazil asking, I want to know if it's possible for me to study 1 month in Toronto and 1 month in Vancouver. That question is for me. Yes, Bruna, you can study 1 month in Toronto, 1 month in Vancouver, and if you want, you can even study 1 month in Victoria. This is SSLC's advantage. You can switch between campuses. If you're talking about the EP program, you have to complete 4 weeks in each campus. But if it's ESL, I mean, it's a bit more flexible, but we usually suggest students to complete at least 4 weeks in our campuses. And I'm not sure if you already know, but we reopened our campuses in Vancouver and Victoria, of course, and students can join us in our campuses. And in Toronto, we are still online, but we may go back to our campus in Toronto maybe late August or early September. We don't know yet. It's not confirmed, but we are already open in Vancouver and Victoria. Okay. We've been live for an hour and 4 minutes now. So thank you so much for being with us here today on our webinar. And thank you for your continuous support with our applications.
Thank you for having us, Ilyas.
Yes,
it's
our
so
pleasure.
Nice to connect with students this way and answer questions.
I hope soon we can have you in our campuses again, like we used to in the old days.
Us too, yeah.
If not, we'll continue to do maybe more webinars.
It's so easy to talk about something that you do believe in and to endorse that. And I can, honestly say, Sprott Shaw, your program's been great. Your students, we welcome them. They've been lovely. And this is a great program and a beautiful place to take the program. So it's very easy to say, yes, come see us, because it is such a good thing. Our partnership's great, and this is a beautiful place to study.
Thanks a lot. Just out of curiosity, did you have any other partnerships with other ESL schools in Canada as well?
We do. I mean, well, UVIC has an English school, so we do have students who come through there as well, and then a few others too. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have 2 more questions here, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Melissa has a question, and Melissa is the student I was talking about earlier. She will apply quite soon.
Okay, great.
And she's from Turkey. She's asking if she can apply to the master's program after the diploma program. Does the diploma program have any benefit in applying for a master's degree at UVIC?
Well, it depends which one. So there's 2 master's programs at UVIC. One is the MBA, the classic kind of Masters of Business Administration, and there's also MGB, Masters of Global Business. So as I mentioned, so students who complete particularly our intensive certificate, that is a direct pathway, if you don't already have a business degree, into the MGB program to qualify to apply. So that pathway is very formalized, so it has a distinct benefit. We have also had students who complete the certificate or diploma to prepare for a master and intensive MBA as well, but it's not a direct pathway. So it doesn't necessarily guarantee more expedient or beneficial admission. It's just, it's an excellent preparation. So in the case that if Melissa is thinking about the MBA specifically, we would definitely help her to get in touch with the MBA office to talk to them about, would this help me with my application and what would you recommend? They may even recommend specific course topics as preparation. And that would be the most advantageous path, because there's not a formalized pathway that way.
Sure. And final question here. If I want to study in RRU, Royal Roads University, after DBA, how many courses do I have to take? Do they transfer to the third year there in RRU?
Yeah, so RRU, it's a little bit hard to answer the question sometimes, because RRU also partially recognizes work experience. So that will depend how many, some of our students with very limited work experience complete the diploma with us plus extra courses to qualify to enter RRU and third year. But students who have extensive work experience, they may qualify differently. So again, if a student is thinking even about the Royal Roads pathway, what we would recommend, they also contact, when they're applying to our program, they also contact admissions there with more information about their specific case, their resume, how many years work experience. But
and we can help with that as well.
Yeah, so the second part of the question, how many more years, they do usually enter third year. So it's usually 18 months to 2 years to finish in their intensive. It's in a condensed program there as well. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much once again for joining our webinar. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining our webinars every week. We'll be live again next week, next Tuesday and Thursday. We have more webinars coming up. I think Jem will be able to share that, or maybe he'll just play the video in the end. So thank you, Malo and Kathy. I hope I'll see you sometime in the near future.
Okay.
And thanks again for your support and for your help with our students. And you can, here you go, you can see our upcoming webinars here on our website, studySSLC.com/free webinars. All you have to do is just go on to our website. You can contact us. We have a chat with an advisor feature on our website. You can chat with us on our website. You can send your emails to us, even in your own languages. We have marketers and advisors that speak your language, and you can see we also have webinars in Spanish as well with Fernanda. You can access everything from our website. And I'd like to thank once again to everyone for being here today, and I'll see you next week. And thank you, Malo and Kathy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The most beautiful country on earth, 3 most livable cities in Canada, over 14,000 graduates, and 20 unique programs in English. Welcome to Canada. Welcome to Sprott Shaw Language College. This is Ilyas. As the Pathway Program Manager and the Marketing Manager for Europe, I will share with you today how you can live, study, and work in Canada. Canada stands out with its safe, multicultural society,
quality of education, and high living standards. These things made Canada one of the most reputable countries in the world. It is also more affordable to study in Canada than other countries like the US and UK. Here, you can meet and study with students from over 75 different countries and also study and work through our career college. Or you can enroll in our pathway program to study at Canada's top colleges and universities while working 20 hours per week to obtain work experience in an English-speaking country. If you want to be a part of this great experience at Sprott Shaw Language College, apply today. Now it's time for Canada.